All right. Hey, welcome Symmetry Nation, Monday morning sales call. But we're going to have an exciting time today because we got some really cool guests that are coming on here today. And my name is Larry Griffin, and I am Direct to Symmetry. And by way of Marshall Whalen, I'm doing an intro today. We have two ladies that are going to talk about how to calculate your income. Anybody interested in making more money? Then you want to get your pens and paper out, because we got some ladies on here that not only know how to write business, a lot of business, but also know before you go, right? So it's really important that you have to know before you go, but you also know that how to calculate your business when you get leads in hand. How many leads do you need? What are my dials, contacts, and appointments? But also know at the end of the month exactly how much money you're going to make. And we have two folks on today. We have key leader, excuse me. We have key leader, Jennifer Giovanni. She is, just to give a little backstory on her, she had last year had written 444 applications, guys. She had just gotten back from London and spending some time with Mutual of Omaha. So we're really proud of her and some of the things that she's doing. Her best month, if you want to know why you want to pay attention today, is her best month in a field for writing applications, 96 applications. 96 applications. That sounds like more like a quarter than a month, right? But she's going to talk about what she does, her mindset, how she plans it out, and how she does all that. Well, we also have on there, Amy, can you hear us? Amy, you're muted out, but I just want to make sure that you're connected. Amy's going to talk about the how do we write good business. She has 100% issued paid business with Mutual of Omaha. So you're going to want to hear about Amy on how she prepares before she goes and how she does the things that she does. So she not only writing the business, but you want to make sure that it gets issued, but it stays on the books. But I'll tell you what, I'm excited to have. Yes, Amy, good deal. Good deal. I just want to make sure you had your connections there.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, we were just giving a little bit of preps there, but I'm going to step out of the way, ladies. I just wanted to give you the proper introduction, because this is exciting, because this is the core of what our business is, right? Because you can write a lot of business, right, Jennifer? But if it doesn't get issued, it's not going to matter. All right. So without any further ado, let's have our first guest, Jennifer Giovanni. Why don't you tell people who you are, where you're from, and anything you'd like to say about your background, and maybe go into how you calculate your income.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much, Larry, for inviting me on this call today. It's really a humbling experience. So it's cool that people want to hear what I have to say, but you know. So I'm Jennifer Giovanni. I live in Suwanee, Georgia, which is like 30 minutes north of Atlanta. We're not allowed to say we're from Atlanta no more. I don't know if anybody of you guys have heard Amaretta song. We can't say that no more. So, but I am direct to Chris Goheen, and we're in the Shannon Master Agency under Marshall Whalen. So good afternoon. I hope everybody's having an amazing day today. And what we're talking about today is numbers. Numbers are so important. I would say the biggest corporations, Amazon, Google, all of these, everybody, they all calculate numbers and they can project like what their next year is going to be. And that's what we want to do, is we need to make, as entrepreneurs, because that's what we all are, we're self-employed, you have to keep up with your numbers. And what's so awesome about Symmetry is they set a foundation for you to be able to track yourself. Not only do they give us like a activity report that you can print off, I have one for each week I've been in business. I have a huge folder for last year, and I've already started on my folder for this year. So, and a small folder for 2020, because I did start in August of 2020 was my starting point. So my first full year was 2021. Right in the pandemic. So with your numbers, if you're brand new on this call, I would say now is the time to start keeping up with those numbers. So I know that your uplines have explained to you how important this is, because when you're brand new at this, even with me, when I was brand new, my numbers did not match the Symmetry overall numbers. Symmetry gives us a baseline of what an average, application is written for is $1,000 APV. That's an average. But mine, whenever I first started, was like, I don't know, it was low. It was probably about 600 to 700. They give you all kinds of averages to keep a baseline of what you need to be. So whenever I first started, let's say an A lead, if you call your A leads, you need to have that average of, how many A leads are you setting? What average, if you get 10 A leads and you're only setting 4 appointments out of those A leads, your average is off. So these numbers are going to help you say, for me, I would go to Chris and say, hey, Chris, I got 10 A leads and I only set 3 appointments. Then we go through, that's when you start learning what to fix. Because when you're new, we don't know what we're doing, really. I didn't know anything about insurance. Whenever I came in, and we'll jump into this later before Amy comes on. When I came in, I didn't even know what a risk assessment was. I had no idea. I didn't know that you could call a carrier and say, hey, my client has diabetes. What do we have to offer them? I didn't know. So I just wrote an application on everybody that would let me. So keeping your numbers. The first thing I would say, like I said, is making sure you have your activity report and you're putting down your appointments that you make. Are they showing up? Did you write applications? How much was the APV for that application? And more importantly, was it issued? So these rates are given to you every month. After each month, it's given to you in your snapshot report. That's where you can get your actual numbers for the month. So for last year, I have every single one of my snapshots and I just put it into an Excel spreadsheet. And it let me know what my true average was for each portion of how you have to calculate how you're going to get to where you want to go, if that makes sense. Okay, so my numbers, like for example, my numbers for each application written for me, the APV didn't average out to $1,000. So I would say it's a Symmetry gives us a baseline of what Symmetry is. Like they calculate everybody's average, but it's really important for you to go by what your average is, because everybody works different. So like example, I know for me, I write a lot of accidental death policies, okay? And those aren't $1,000 per application. They're more like $150 to $200 per application. So last year, altogether, I wrote 444 applications, but like 30% of those were accidental death policies. So that's going to pull my application APV average down. It's not going to be the same as Symmetry's baseline. So my application average is a little different. The APV for each application is different. So I'm saying that to say this, your actual numbers, you have to have, you baseline is Symmetry. Always go by that. That's where we want to be. We want to be at $1,000 per application, and I'm working my way up there. But the only way I know that mine isn't at the baseline of Symmetry is because I'm keeping up with the numbers. So start a spreadsheet. Always put your PPL, I'm sorry, not your PPLs, but I'm looking at the spreadsheet now, but always put your snapshots on the spreadsheet and average everything out month to month as you go, because it's going to let you know if your averages are getting better or getting worse. So that's a starting point. So always keep up with your numbers. As far as your DCAs, those are important. Those are the most important, because when you see, let's say, I don't know, when you see your DCAs, say you're brand new, even if you're not new, you know, you've kind of been doing this for a while, you know, when you're lacking, your DCAs are low, right? When you haven't gotten like what you get on a regular working month, and you've issued paid less than what you usually do, you know your DCAs are low. We know that because we've been doing it for a minute. But as a new person, you don't know where your baseline is, right? So those DCAs are so important. I would say if you're brand new, whenever I first started, my first month, I wrote $19,000 worth of business, but like only 8,000 of it placed. And that's terrible because, like I said, I didn't know that you could do a risk assessment. I didn't know what that was. I thought if you wanted life insurance, here you go. I'm going to give you some. So a lot of my business didn't place my first month. And it's hard for me to catch on. I'm a little slow, but we won't go there today. But your DCAs are going to be different your first 90 days. If you're brand new, they're going to be low. I mean, unless you're coming out the gates and, you know, you just go. I would say do massive action. Those first 90 days, you're going to learn so much. And the way to constantly correct yourself is just doing massive action. So like my first month, like I said, I wrote almost 20,000 in business. And I believe I did about 1,500 dials the whole month. So it was just a lot of action. It's very common for people to come in and write lots and lots of business, but behind all of that business, you just don't see how much activity that they're doing. So it was a lot of work. If I wasn't on an appointment, I was dialing and I was investing in leads. Invest in leads. That's where you're going to get appointments from. So those are the first numbers that you have to get, is off of your DCAs. For me, what I can do is, let's say, I don't know, let's say there's something coming up and I need $20,000. Okay. What I look at is just my averages. So if I need $20,000, I know that I have to take, okay, let me break this down for you guys. I don't do all this fancy schmancy, like I know a lot of my friends like Dave Brown, he's all fancy and he gets his iPad out and he draws. I have really bad handwriting like Sean Shannon, so I'm not going to display that for you. But get a pen and a piece of paper out, because this is the formula. Now, listen, I wasn't good at math when I was in school, okay? So I may do things a little backwards, but it works for me, okay? Now you can work your numbers out however you want to, as long as you're hitting your goals. High five to you, great job. But this is just how I do it. So my numbers are, I'm not gonna share my numbers with you guys, but as an average, we'll go by, let's do it easy math, right? So let's say, you needed 20,000, you wanted to issue pay 20,000. Let's say you're working on a goal, right? So let's say you're at 90% and you're at 90% and you're trying to hit 95%. I keep my little goals back here so I can look at them. So you have to issue pay $20,000 in 2 months to go to 95, right? All right. So we need $20,000 to issue paid. I know that each one of my applications says $800 per application. All right. So you would take 20,000. Let me get my handy dandy calculator because I already told you I'm not good at math. So 20,000. All right. 20,000 divided by 800. That means I need to write 25 applications. Okay. I need to write 25 applications. I know to write 25 applications, my average spend on leads is 67 leads per month. That's A leads. That's a combination of A leads and call-in leads. Those are both A leads. So I purchase around 67 leads per month, A leads. To issue 20,000, I need to purchase, that's not right. Yeah, it's about 67 leads. There you go. So 67 leads. If I purchase 67 A leads in 1 month, I know I'm going to issue pay 20,000. Now, so then you just break this into 4 weeks or however many days are in the month that you're going to work. You just break that up and you order your leads, call your leads and do your business. So your numbers are very important. Keep up with your snapshots. Again, keep up with your snapshots. And keep very good notes. I actually changed my activity report a little bit. Talk to your upline about doing like a report card, basically, that tells how much each week. You need to know these numbers. You need to know this each and every week, because the more data you can pull on yourself with doing Symmetry, the more like pinpoint you can be. Okay. So I get my total applications in a week, my total APV for a week, my total issue paid, my average APV per application that I write. So I'm going to start over because write these down. This is actually on, I know I probably shouldn't show you this, but this is on my activity report. I kind of like changed it because I already know this is where the lead levels were, but I put this in there. But so total applications for the week. All right. Your total APV that you wrote, your total issue paid for the week, total APV per application. So how do you get that? So what you do is you take your total APV for the week and divide it by how many applications you wrote for that week. Okay, so that'll give you your average for applications. I also write down my total appointment openings. Okay, so I typically have about 60 openings a week because I do hour appointments. I wouldn't suggest that doing that if you're brand new. I would say an hour and a half. Put yourself at that. That's just an hour and a half. And then, so if I have my total openings, then I put total appointments booked in those openings. I also keep a record of how much I spend every single week on leads, because I know if I need to issue pay 20,000, I have to spend, I don't know, that month, how about $4,000 I'll spend on leads. Now this 67 leads that I purchase per month to issue pay 20,000, that's not included my bonus leads I purchase. I purchase about 35 to 40 bonus leads, B1 leads per week. So, but that's not counting in those. And then my hold ratio, that's very important. Because if your hold ratio, mine is typically 80, 85%. But if your holding ratio is low, then you know that you need to change something with tying down your appointments. So all of these numbers are super, super important. You guys have to understand that you're self-employed, and for you to project what you have, you can't project a month of income, or even for like one of these contests. You can't do that in 2 weeks. Like you can't take 2 weeks of numbers and say, okay, this is what we do this year. You can't do that. You're going to need 90 days. If you're first starting out, your first 90 days is so critical with your numbers, because we can, as seasoned people, we can say, okay, this is why your holding ratio is low, or this is why your APV per application is low, or this is why your issue rate is so low. We can look at it and actually tell you this is the problem. So your numbers are so important. It's important for your growth when you're new. And it's also important for our growth. I'm still trying to make my numbers higher. I want to be like Amy at 100% with Mutual of Omaha. That would be dope. So there's.
And I want to be like Jennifer. I want to be like Jennifer with the number of apps she writes. So
I'm telling you, just start writing accidentals. Accidentals and critical illness and all of those things. It's not hard to throw those things in, but your numbers are very important. And like I was saying earlier, whenever I first started, I didn't even understand like what a risk assessment was. So when I wrote almost 20,000 in business, I was so excited. But then when I was like, where's my money at? Then I realized, oh, you have to issue this stuff. I didn't even understand the language, the lingo. Like I just thought if I wrote an application, I'm gonna get paid. I just gotta wait for the underwriters to send out the paperwork. That's what I thought. And then, so Chris Goheen, he's my upline, he explained all this to me, but it was like, whew, way over my head. I didn't understand it. I'm telling you, I'm not the brightest crayon in the box. Okay. So if you're anything like me, hello, high five. But I understood it when I didn't see my bank account reflect the work that I did. So I was like, hold on just a second. Okay. How do I make this 19,000 issue and I get what is on my spreadsheet that I'm supposed to get? Okay. So Amy is amazing at this. So if you have wondered, why am I getting so many denials on my business? Take out your pen, take out your paper, and take some notes from Amy, because she is a master at getting policies issued and understanding risk assessments and how to do that. Thank you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. And Amy, take it from here, girlfriend.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Jennifer, I have to tell you, you are one of my heroes in this business, and I have been trying to model after you with my lead purchases and with being persistent with multiple apps and things like that. So, you know, that is a huge part of this business, guys. You have to invest and you have to do the activity. There's no magic bullet. There's no shortcut. You've got to do the work in order to get the results. So, and Jennifer does that in spades. But on the end that I am particularly good at, first, let me introduce myself. My name is Amy Hunter. I'm direct to Dwayne Upchurch in the Griffin Agency and part of the Whalen hierarchy. So Jennifer and I are both under that Whalen hierarchy, and it's a good thing. Um, I would say I come into this with a research background. I am by training an economist, and I did public safety forecasts for years and years and years. So I just have that research mindset. So when I came into this, I realized if I wanted to do the best service for my clients and for myself, honestly, I needed to be prepared and I needed to be persistent. And by prepared, I mean, I need to be able to match all the products that we have. We have such a wide array of products, but we have to know who's going to fit what product. You know, if we have a diabetic, Foresters is great for diabetes. Mutual of Omaha, maybe not so much. And we have to know that. We have to know age. We have to be really prepared and talking to our clients before we go out and search for products, because we have to know their health information. And sometimes they throw you curveballs, honestly. But if you have that client qualification form in front of you when you're doing your dialing, you can fill it out and make sure that you have as much information as you can. So for instance, it's not enough to know that someone has diabetes. You have to know how long they've had it, what their treatments are, if they're type 1 or type 2 diabetes, what is their A1C rating, because all of those things are going to affect whether the agency will issue a policy for them. And that goes for any health condition that they might have. So you need to know their health conditions, you need to know their medications. Every carrier has a list of medications that are automatic knockouts. You want to make sure that your client is not taking any medication that's an automatic knockout if you're going to try to get a policy with a particular carrier. So, you know, that is my best advice, is just be prepared. You know, go in, find out the health information from the client, and know your carriers, know who's going to issue what, know the ages, know the weights, know the health conditions that certain carriers don't like. And once you have a policy that you think will work for someone and have written an application, you got to be persistent. You can't just leave it out there waiting for the carrier to make a decision. You should be on the phone the next business day to the underwriters or to the customer service division of that carrier saying, hey, I just wrote this application. What's happening with it? How long do you think it will take the underwriters to look at it? When do you think it'll be issued? Because that not only lights the fire under the carriers, and honestly, I think the squeaky wheel does get the grease in this arena. But it allows you to have the information to be in contact with your client and build a good relationship there. So, you know, that, I mean, there's no bad magic bullet for this either. It's just hard work of making sure that you're prepared and making sure that you're persistent. And if you cannot find the carrier guides, each carrier has an underwriting guide. Go ahead and call your carriers and ask them to send you a PDF. That way you have it and you don't have to go out searching for it. And you should be looking at that underwriting guide on a regular basis, so you know, so you're not missing anything. But also, Jennifer is right. There are people at the carriers who do risk assessment. So call in, particularly if someone has a difficult health problem. Call in and ask, because they may tell you you can't go simplified issue, but we'll probably issue a fully underwritten policy. And that's not something you want to do on a regular basis, because you want your clients to not have to undergo a medical exam, first of all, but you want them to not have that record on their MIB if the medical exam does find something that might knock them out for getting insurance at all. So, but sometimes it's necessary. If someone has type 1 diabetes, it's very likely that you're not going to be able to get a simplified issue policy, but it doesn't mean they can't get insurance. Anyway, so I think we're about out of time, but if Jennifer wants to hop back in, do you have anything else that you would like to say, Jennifer, about getting policies issued? I mean, any tips that you have?
The first tip is, I know I said I wrote 20,000 in my first month, and I didn't know anything about risk assessments and all of that. I would say don't take our advice. Okay. I'm not saying don't take our advice. I'm saying don't take our advice and use it as a hindrance and overthink all of this and think you have to learn everything before you do your first appointment. Don't do that to yourself, because the best way to learn is just doing it. Okay. Just jump in and get it done. Chris told me whenever I started, hey, you're going to make a big, huge mess, but the great thing is we can fix it. So we go back, rewind to my second month. We took all of those people that were declined and we did risk assessments on them and found a product for each one of them. We can cover anybody, you guys. So we picked up those policies that were declined, and we got an approval for them the next month. So September, we got an approval for those. So make a mess, make a whole big mess. Just come in, make your mess, and your upline is going to help you clean it up. I did see some questions, and I know that it's 12:32, so I'm going to try to hurry up. So DCAs is dials, contacts, and appointments. Somebody said, what is my closing ratio? It stays between 75 and 80, or my holding ratio for appointments, it stays between 75 and 80%. And then 9 times out of 10, and I do count a cancellation that reschedules for the next week. I do count that as not a no-show, but I didn't show that appointment that week and it was set. So I keep it there because you want accuracy. Don't lie to yourself about your numbers, because you're going to throw yourself off. So the more accurate you can be, the better. And you want to don't lie to yourself about your numbers, because it's gonna hinder you later. But yeah, man, we went back and wrote applications on those people and they were approved. So make a mess, come in, get your work done, buy your leads, buy leads, call your leads, work, like get things
Yes.
done. Because the more you do, the more you learn, and the more numbers that you can generate for yourself helps you get your averages faster. So if you have any questions for me, I'm always available, especially by social media at the Jennifer Giovanni on Instagram, and just Jennifer Giovanni on Facebook. So you can always hit me up there. I love helping people and working with people. So consult with your upline. But if you want to know more formulas and things like that, or, just need some help, I'm cool with that. So, but that's it. I want everybody to have a great day today. Have an amazing week. We're, second week? I don't even know where we're at, because today's my first day back. Okay, so today's the 11th, so we're almost halfway through April. It's April. So
Yep.
Let's get your goals and reach your goals, and everybody just have a great day. Thank you guys so much.
3rd week of the month, Jennifer. It's going to be a good one.
All right.
And everybody have a really good day. If anybody needs to reach me, my cell phone number is 804-237-9625. I am also open to answering any questions that anybody might have. So give me a call if you have any.
All right. Peace out, everybody. Have a great day.
Peace out. Bye.